Hello one and all, my name is John Clare, this is John's Dark Art, and as always you are very welcome. Now today's piece is a piece I like to call Gay Icon. It's of a unicorn skull. I did it because some friends of mine, who funnily enough are gay, were getting engaged, and I wanted to give them a bit of a gift as I couldn't be there at their engagement party, so I drew this for them. And I quite like it. I thought it would be a little bit of a fun piece to do, and the guys seem to love the piece as well, which is all the more important, I feel. So I'll bring up a few in now to have a look at, and there it is. And so yeah, got a good look at that. Yeah, excellent. So what we'll do now is we will go into the demonstration of the piece. I'll walk you through it and all that jazz, and we'll do that now. Okay, so here we are. This is Gay Icon. We're in Procreate now. So what I'm going to do first and foremost, as I usually do, we're going to go into canvas information. Let's see how long it took me to do this. It took me 8 hours and 7 minutes. So this is actually quite a quick one for me. 2,603 strokes made. So this is one of these ones where I did it over a couple of days while streaming on Twitch. John's Dark Art, by the way. I wanted to do a unicorn skull because I like drawing skulls, right? And I thought, like I said before, I thought it'd be a fun piece to do for my friends. And you know, what makes me happy is that they're happy with it. So anyway, enough of the preamble. Let's get into the meat of it. Okay, so here we are. Let's actually pull it back a little bit, start this again. And as you can tell, this, again, the one thing I really like about working digitally is that I can resize and recompose as I go. It's just wonderfully flexible. So if I start off too big, then I can just reduce as I need to. If I'm too small, I can just increase. But again, like I said in previous videos, the one thing I would advocate is, like, if you're going to try and get your composition done before you really start getting into the details, because as I showed prior, the more you resize an image, the more it affects the quality of the image. I can't emphasize that enough. Try and get your composition more or less where you want it to be as early as possible in the drawing, or any kind of artwork that you're doing on a Procreate or any other digital platform for that matter. Once I've all got it roughed out, all I'm doing then is refining after the fact. And at one point, I did kind of think about doing the neck vertebrae, but I just thought it was a bit unneeded, a bit unnecessary. So in the end, I'll end up leaving out. But then this is the great thing again about working digitally. It just gives you so much freedom in terms of getting it done. So anyway, once I was kind of happy with where the skull was at, then I started roughing in the unicorn horn. And then, as you can see here, getting more of the details in, drawing the teeth here, and that little kind of connection point at the back of the horse skull that attaches to the vertebrae. Like, I know it seems like that I'm drawing an eye, some sort of like weird eye there, but actually what's going on there is like, it's basically the internal structure of the skull. You'll actually notice that where the brain case is kind of a stem that comes down and carries on through. But the way it kind of, it almost looks like there's a pupil in there when there isn't. So yeah, just filling out, doing my usual thing where I cross hatch and build up my tone over time. And what I was doing here was, I didn't want there just to be, because if you look at most horns, right, a lot of skulls, you'll see there's almost like an anchor point that comes off the skull, and then the horn kind of is then built around that, if you know what I mean. Because most horns, I think, are basically like a bone skeletal structure with keratin on top of it. That's where most of the shape of the horns comes from. That's why with, say, ram's horns, you get those kind of layered effects throughout the horn. So what I wanted to do there is I wanted to have a convincing anchor point, and then I thought it'd be kind of cool just to do a little spiral pattern all the way up. So that's what I did. Once I had those lines kind of tidied up a little bit, then I just started shading it in. Building the detail again, like building, you don't necessarily, like, not all detail has to be line work. A lot of detail can just be like, you know, you can using shading alone, like, and picking out shapes and highlighting certain spots, it ends up giving a lot more form to what you're drawing. Yeah, I mean, essentially, a bit of resizing going on here. At the top of the skull, where the jaw bones kind of meet, where the jaw muscles, sorry, the attachment point from the mandible to the top of the brain case. That's what that little ridge is there for. Okay, so that's the drawing there done now. So, but one thing I did do, and I did this specially for them, for my friends, I wanted to give them something slightly unique. So what I did was I kind of messed around with some effects in Procreate. Basically, I wanted to kind of give it this kind of newsprint look. The one thing I found actually, it kind of gave it gave the image quite a lot more pop, a lot more kind of contrast, which I quite liked. And I like these kind of little glitch effects as well, just to give it something slightly unique and especially for them. So all that really was just me dicking around. First of all, what I did was I duplicated the skull drawing. And then on the duplicated layer, what I did was I just selected some of these effects. Like, for instance, one effect I used was glitch. And what I did was I kind of messed about with it a little bit there, as you can see. So, and you can go really ham with this if you want to, but I wanted it to be subtle. I didn't want to dick around with it too much. So yeah, you can do these kind of nutty effects with it, and I think it's really cool. So it's something I might actually mess about with a lot more going forward, because I think there's a lot of potential to make to elevate a drawing just by utilising some simple effects here and there. And like I said, I wanted this to be unique for them. Right, this is especially for my friends. So I think in the end, it actually worked out quite well. If you go to my website, you'll also find that there is actually two versions of this. This is the version that I gave to my friends, and this is the version that's up on my website. Before I talk any more about that, what we'll do is we'll go into the next section now. Okay, so that was Gay Icon, a piece that, from what I understand, happily hangs in my friend's house, and I'm very happy that that's the case. And I'm happy that I was able to give them something that no one else could give. Only I can give what I gave to them, which was this drawing, this artwork, this piece of art. Unlike other artworks that we featured on John's Dark Art prior to this, it won't be up on www.johnsdarkart.com because it was a gift. So I won't be putting it up for sale, and there won't be prints available for this. But there are other prints from prior episodes that are still up on the website now. So if you'd like to go over there, that's www.johnsdarkart.com, and pick yourself up a print. That would be very much appreciated, because that would help us carry on doing what we're doing. So thank you very much. Anyway, so am I happy with this piece? Yes. Am I happy that I was able to give it to my friends as a gift? Yes, because the one thing, like I said, the one thing I can do that no one else could do is do my art. Not do art in general. There's plenty of people out there who are doing amazing work day in, day out. Just look on Instagram for 10 seconds, you can see some fantastic stuff there. But only I can do this. And I like to give art as a gift. Not just in this instance. I've given other pieces to people who've done right by me in one way, shape or form, who've helped me out along the way. This is like me showing my appreciation for them as a person, and the impact that they're having on my life in a positive way. I don't mean to sound horribly arrogant when I say this, but for me to give a piece of my art or a piece of my work to someone indicates that they mean a lot to me. But another great thing about not just giving art as a gift, but sharing art. I mean, that's what we're doing here. Whether it's John's Dark Art, whether it's on my Twitch, also John's Dark Art, by the way, if you're not already over there, please do. I stream most weekends. It gives me a wonderful opportunity to share my art and share my enthusiasm for the subject. I love art. It's been my first love since I was a child. Drawing and making things, making drawings, making pictures, making, and being able to share them is, I think, for me, is really important. The one great thing about Twitch is I can share the process of me doing the work. I love doing that. I love sitting down, drawing, and then someone will come up and ask me a question about how I do what I do. Usually it's how do you get your shading? Mostly just scribbling, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I love answering those questions. I love the interactivity of it. You know, I love people taking an interest in what I'm doing, and I love being able to share what I do. Yeah, through gifts, obviously, but also through these kind of platforms, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whether it's whatever else. It gives me the opportunity to do that. Have I also, you know, exhibited in gallery shows before? Yes, I have. I've found them to be less than ideal experiences, if I'm being honest. I think galleries, basically, they take a lot of money from artists. I think, to be honest with you, they exploit artists, to be perfectly honest. Unless you're like a major name like a Banksy or a Stick or a Tracy Emin or whatever, if you've got like a name behind you, if you know what I mean. Mostly galleries just take the piss out of artists that are trying to, you know, make a name for themselves, and I think it's wrong. I like the fact that with social media and with other platforms like Twitch, like streaming platforms and platforms like YouTube, I can share my art with people without them having to go to galleries. Also, another great thing about doing this is it means I'm independent. The reason why I've got the website up and why I'm trying to sell prints on the website is so I can make a living doing what I'm good at. And again, I know it sounds horribly arrogant for me to say that, but I think I am bloody good at what I do because I've been doing it a long time, you know. And I think that adds more meaning to me sharing what I'm doing, because then if I can share, I can impart something to younger artists or artists who are, you know, only starting to take an interest in making their own work. It enables me to give something to them, impart a bit of wisdom, impart a bit, you know, show them ways how I do things, and maybe they can incorporate that into their own work. I think the sharing of art, I think, is important. I think this is the crux of what I'm trying to say here. Sharing art is important, whether that's on social media, whether that's sharing it with friends and loved ones, whether it's giving it as gifts, whatever it is, you know. I think art is what, you know, art enriches your life. Okay, does it have any practical purpose? No, it doesn't. You know, it's not the same. Giving art is not the same as giving someone a kettle. You know, at least with a kettle, you can make a cup of tea with it. But art just hangs on your wall and looks pretty. It's not just aesthetics either. It's how it makes you feel, you know. I think it's important that, especially if you're hanging art in your home, that you have art that you love looking at. And I appreciate my style may not be for everyone. I have been told in the past it's quite dark and foreboding. I do draw a lot of ravens and skulls after all. At the same time, I think, at least with my work, that what I'm doing, I'm not trying to appease a algorithm or appease an audience that I have in my mind. I'm just trying to express myself and share it with the world. And that's really all it is I'm trying to say here, to be honest. So yeah, hopefully that'll inspire you to make something yourself and share it with the world in whatever way you see fit. Anyway, my name's been John Clare. This has been John Starkart, and as always, you've been very welcome. Until next time.